In the previous video, I got the rakers and the blocking prepared for getting the OSB on the roof. And so in this video, that's what I'm going to attempt to do. Now, I said the words OSB on the roof and a strong wind kicked up. We'll see if it's going to be cooperating with us today or not. So let's get started. Whew. I decided to go with 5/8 inch instead of 1/2 inch. I said it would be a little bit stronger than the 1/2 inch, especially on these 24-inch centers. But this also means it's a good bit heavier. Oh. Yeah, it's a close fit. I think we made it. That's a satisfying sound. That's heavy. All right. Nice. Good fit. I want to see how well my blocking did. Yeah, I think it's right on as well, so good to put some screws in here. One thing that's hard to show from the ground is these safety blocks. I've put 3 3-inch screws in each of these, and it gives a couple things. If I drop a tool, it'll slide down and connect with that, and also gives me something to put my feet on if I get, if I slide down or whatever. Also, when climbing off the ladder, it helps to hold on to those as well. So definitely important to have those safety features. To get this OSB attached to the trusses, I'm just using some 2.5 inch screws and getting these installed. Oops. And I'm going every 8 inches or so and putting a screw in on each and every one of these trusses all the way down. gets it stuck.
This stuff's not super slick, is it?
My dad and I worked out pretty late the other day and got the underlayment in the last pieces of OSB on the roof. So let's step up the ladder here and let me show you what we finished up. The time has changed, so it gets dark at 5 now. But so we just got the sheets down here, and then got these little plastic washer nails put in, and that just keeps the water from getting to the roof if for some reason the metal were to leak. So we used 5 pieces total. So there's maybe 2 foot on each side of the top up there. It was kind of comical seeing my dad and I up on the roof with headlamps hammering those nails in. Each side of the roof is made from an 8-foot 2x4 with those 2 sheets of OSB. So basically it's 8 foot. I've got the tin here that my friend gave me. I've got I think 16 sheets. So I probably, no, 14 sheets. I'll need 2 more from her, so have to get those. But a couple of them are 16-foot sheets, so I can cut them in half and get 2 out of those. So what I'm going to do is cut 8 feet out of these shorter pieces, and then the ridge cap, I think, where did it go? Yeah, back over here, is about 11 inches. So what I can do is I can bring the metal roof down just a little bit to give some overlap on the edge of the building. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these to 8 foot. 8 foot will also make it nicer for hauling up on top of the roof, so it won't be so heavy. I'm just going to make this 8 foot line cross here a few times, so I have something as a guide whenever I start using the snips. I'm certainly no professional, but I hear the green-handled snips work best for right-handed people, so that's what I'm going to try to use here. Make sure I'm just cutting one piece. Since I'm going to be cutting a lot of this, I figured I would set up an official tin cutting area on this wheelbarrow. So let's see if I can get through this. Not exactly sure why I was expecting this to be easier, but it's not. Let's see. So they say right-handed here. Color snip. Well, that edge is not too bad. Right here in the middle was the most difficult part to get cut off, but worked out pretty good. Now, most of this build I've been using the impact driver, but I think I'm going to use the drill to install the metal because I can set the torque, I guess it is, to a different level. That way I can control the screw going in, because I don't want to flatten the washers too much that are on the screws here. So let me see about getting this piece of metal hauled up to the roof, and we'll go from there. Probably shouldn't scratch it too much. I'm not sure why, but for some reason I was dreading this step. I guess just remembering how heavy it was in the tiny house that I built. But this is actually a whole lot better than that OSB. luckily there's no wind either at the moment. All right. Before I can put too many screws in here towards the end of the metal, I've got these rubber pieces that fit in here to make hopefully a bug resistant seal. And so I'm going to get those in here now. So I'm guessing it goes here. So the next set, yeah, okay, so that's the way it goes. So I left several screws off towards the end here so that I can still lift this up. So I'm going to push it in probably 2 inches or so in here. From the edge. And so whenever that's screwed down, that foam will keep any bugs from going up in there. Or at least that's the goal. After cutting about 5 pieces by hand, I was getting quite tired. So I went to my parents' house and picked up the angle grinder, and it's making things a lot faster. So this is my last sheet here of the full-size sheets. And then I'll have to cut a few more to fit the last little section, which I'll show you in a bit. I have all of the metal installed except for this last little bit here. And so I'm going to measure that out and then rip down a piece of metal using the angle grinder to put on this last little bit. Once that's done, I can then come back and get the ridge cap installed. I found out what was required to finish off those last little pieces up top. I need to come back on this piece here, which is I think a couple inches over 4 foot. Yeah, 2 inches over 4 foot. So it'll have at least a 4-inch overlap, if not a little bit more. So what I'm going to do here is measure out 15 and a half, excuse me. And I'm going to rip this piece of metal down. And I can actually get 2 pieces out of this, which is just what I need. So I have the metal up on some blocks here so that I can cut the track down here and not worry about it hitting the workshop floor. And then of course just taking the grinder and running down the track here. And that concludes the final bit there on the end. Now I cut the same piece in half each time, and so you can see instead of having the long tongue underneath the previous piece, I actually put it on top. So there's 2 tongues on these pieces, but I am going to screw that flap down to make sure no wind ever hits that piece. And there's either 5 or 6 inches of overlap in here, so a good bit. I don't see that there'll be rain going back up in there, but I may just put a bead of caulk on that edge just in case. There's a chance of rain tomorrow, so I'm kind of moving along quickly here, but I've got some of these rubber plastic strips that I'm pulling off this paper here. Yeah. And it's got adhesive on the backside. And what I'm doing is matching up along the edge here, something a little bit like this. And I'm just running this along here. And this prevents bugs from getting inside here, which to me is very important. So I'm getting that pushed down on both sides. And then I've already got one piece started here. It's getting kind of dark, so you can't see too well. But you can see it just fits right on top of that. Now I'm leaving a couple here so that I can overlap the next piece and then drill in through all 3 pieces. But I'm going to put screws in along here on every one of these ribs. And I don't know how well we can see it, but it conforms to that foam down there. And so bugs hopefully won't be able to get in there. And it also lets out a little bit of airflow. But I'm going to try and get the rest of this piece on here tonight. So if it does rain, I should be good. I've also got a little bit of overlap here on the end. I know you're thinking that white is a terrible color for a ridge cap. And it probably is. So I'm going to be painting all of this, roof and ridge cap. I'd like it to match the house, so that's what I'm going to go for. Oh, don't be stubborn. There we go. And the roof is done. I managed to get these strips here put on, and everything else has been screwed down, so looking nice. Well, apparently I forgot to film the outro to this video, so you get a voiceover instead. I apologize for how jumbled this video was. It was filmed over the course of about a week and a half, and it's really difficult to film on top of a roof when you're doing work, so just jumbled. Now, the rakers on the backside were much, well, are they rakers? Ladders. Anyway, it was much easier to work from inside the building than outside. So if you're going to be doing this work, I do recommend that you set up your ladder before your OSB goes on, of course, and get those ladders installed. It was really funny. My dad and I were out working, and it got dark on us, and we had headlamps, and my headlamp was almost dead, so we were just stumbling around in the dark trying to get those plastic cap nails installed to that underlayment. Anyway, it was fun stuff. Well, I do hope that you learned something from this video. I certainly did. It's a lot of work getting a roof on a workshop, but we got it done. So now, the next video, I think I'm going to be moving into the sheathing to finish that up. So look forward to all of that. Thanks for watching. I'm Seth Johnson with Land a House, and I will see you in the next video. I'm doing my little hand finger point thing and saying, see you next time. Bye. I'm going to be cutting a lot of this. I figured I'd set up the official tin cutting. Whoa. Sorry, spaghetti.